a bit of concerning news in all of them really today, but let's start with New South Wales, 390 cases, so that's the highest number once again that we've seen in this outbreak, in fact through the entire pandemic in New South Wales. And you can see, you don't need to be a mathematician to see that these numbers are growing, and in fact the pace at which they're growing is now starting to pick up as well. That is exponential growth, and so we can only expect from what we've seen, from the way that the numbers have been tracking, from the fact that really there's not a lot changing in terms of the settings on the ground other than a stepped up kind of policing and enforcement sort of approach. We can only expect that these numbers will continue to grow. Let me show you the 7-day average quickly, just to give you a sense. It is now 328 cases a day on average being recorded in New South Wales. And the other thing I want to draw your attention to is the number of cases where the source isn't known. And this is a cumulative total through the entire outbreak, where either the cases are still under investigation or contact tracers have basically given up and can't find the source of the infection. More than 2,500 of the cases through this pandemic. So we have to assume that there's a fair bit of virus about. A lot of these cases, part of this is a function of contact tracing just not being able to keep up with this many cases. We expect to see these numbers grow, but it is a lot of cases where we just don't know the transmission settings, we don't know how the people have got them, and that's a bit of a worry and kind of heightens the risk that this starts to get away. Again, we still have sort of pockets of geographic concern, parts of Western Sydney where the case numbers are still growing, but also in regional New South Wales where we've got a concerning cluster and cases in the Upper Hunter, Newcastle region, and increasingly concerning numbers in Dubbo and Western New South Wales, where we've seen 25 or so cases recorded today, plus a number of cases among Aboriginal people where vaccination rates have been quite low compared to the rest of the population. So a lot to be worried about in New South Wales. In Victoria, we've got 15 more cases today. Of those, it's actually a number that's lower than yesterday, but in many ways it's sort of a status quo position, because the number of cases that were out in the community while infectious, roughly the same as what it was yesterday. The number of cases with mysteries attached to them, roughly the same as well. And I'm actually a little bit concerned about some of the cases in Victoria. It's just kind of showing how hard this cluster, this outbreak is to come under control, because today we've got mysteries among a delivery driver who lives in Wyndham Vale, so an essential worker who can't work from home. We've got a case in Roxburgh Park who works in Bundoora. And we're seeing a couple of sort of genuine mysteries coming up each day, not really being linked back to known sources of infection, plus a couple of cases today in the Glenroy cluster that we first heard about yesterday. So I think there's a bit of work there to be done in Victoria. I'm not convinced that this is going to come under control in the next few days, and we'll see a sort of speedy end to this outbreak, but certainly a lot of work to be done there. And finally, in the ACT, we've got this is a little bit messy. 4 official cases recorded today. So that is, what we're looking at now is an outbreak of 6 cases. The one index case we learned about yesterday, plus 3 more cases we heard about yesterday, plus 1 more today, for 5 that are all linked back to that first index case. But the concerning one is the new one that's come in since 9 a.m, and it's a student at a school, not linked to this index case, not linked to the exposure sites as yet. We just don't know where they've got it. So quite a lot of work there to be done on controlling that case. Unfortunately, it looks like this ACT cluster might not just disappear as quickly as it arrived. There's a bit of work and lots of testing still to be done.